Mind you, this man sent text messages to somebody that I was dealing with me of me and him having.
Cardi B just admitted Offset sent an explicit video of her straight to Stefon Diggs on purpose. And it all started because Stefon Diggs allegedly brought Pre, the same woman Offset cheated with, to his hotel room at the Super Bowl. Now, Offset is sitting back saying this.
All of my hoes still my hoes, that's for sure. All of my hoes still my hoes, and they know.
And what he just said about Cardi has the entire internet convinced she is going back. Let's get into it. The footage. Alright, so let me just set the scene for you real quick, because what is happening right now between Cardi B, Offset, and Stefon Diggs is honestly one of the messiest, most dramatic, most jaw-dropping celebrity love triangles we have seen in years, because what we are dealing with involves alleged intimate footage being sent as a form of harassment, threats of physical violence, claims of emotional manipulation, and an NFL wide receiver who apparently thought he could juggle more women than he juggles footballs. Now, to understand how we got here, you have to understand where this whole thing started, and that means going all the way back to the very beginning of Cardi B and Offset's relationship. These two started dating back in 2017. They got married that same year in a secret ceremony that nobody even knew about until months later. And at the time, people thought they were the ultimate hip-hop power couple. Cardi was on fire with Bodak Yellow, and Offset was riding high with Migos. Everything looked perfect on the surface, but behind closed doors, things were anything but. Because according to multiple reports and Cardi B's own public statements, Offset was unfaithful to her over 50 times during their marriage. Let me say that number again, over 50 times. And this was not just random speculation from bloggers on the internet. Cardi herself has come out and said that Offset cheated on her repeatedly, including during her pregnancies, which she says caused her enormous emotional distress and even affected the health of her children. She has talked about how the stress from the lies and the gaslighting contributed to low birth weight for one of her babies. That is not just celebrity gossip at that point. That is a woman telling you that her partner's behavior physically harmed her family. Together, Cardi and Offset share 3 children. Their daughter Culture was born in 2018, their son Wave came along in 2021, and their third child was born in September 2024, right in the middle of all the chaos we are about to get into. Cardi filed for divorce the first time back in 2020, but they ended up reconciling. Then she filed again, permanently this time, in July 2024, citing irreconcilable differences. And that is when the real fireworks started, because it was right around October 2024 that the entire internet found out about Cardi B and Stefon Diggs. And the person who broke the news was none other than DJ Academics, who went on a live stream and claimed that Offset had discovered Cardi was being unfaithful with an NFL player while she was 8 months pregnant with their third child. According to Academics, Offset went through Cardi's phone and found messages and evidence that pointed directly to another man. Now, Academics did not name Diggs right away. He hinted at it by referencing a player on his fantasy football team, but fans and reporters quickly figured out he was talking about Stefon Diggs, who was playing for the Houston Texans at the time. And here is where it gets really spicy, because Offset did not just sit on this information quietly. He took it public. During one of Cardi B's Instagram lives, Offset jumped into the comments and wrote that she had been intimate with someone else while carrying his child and that she needed to tell the truth. And what did Cardi B do in response? She went on X, formerly Twitter, and replied with 2 words that shook the internet: "and did." That was her response. She basically confirmed the whole thing right there in front of millions of people. She framed it as a lick back, meaning revenge for all the times Offset had been unfaithful to her. And honestly, a lot of fans understood where she was coming from, even if they did not agree with the method. But Offset did not take this well, not even a little bit. And this is where we get to the most disturbing part of this entire story, because according to Cardi B herself, in a series of explosive revelations that she made on X Spaces in late March 2025, Offset went on what can only be described as a full-scale harassment campaign against her after the breakup. In a live session that she titled War, Cardi accused Offset of doing something that crosses every line imaginable.
This guy, right, is upset because I sent his girlfriend text messages of him begging me, saying he was gonna take away his life.
Let that sink in for a second. She is saying that Offset was sending her threatening messages about taking his own life and hers, but that is not even the part that has the entire internet losing its mind, because what Cardi said next is what changed everything.
Mind you, this man sent text messages to somebody that I was dealing with me of me and him having.
And then she added, in words that paint a picture of just how exhausting this whole ordeal has been for her.
That's the type of shit I've been dealing with for the past 2 months. Every time he knows that I go out of town, he harasses me.
So let us be crystal clear about what Cardi B is alleging here. She is saying that Offset took private, intimate footage of the two of them from during their relationship and sent it directly to Stefon Diggs as a way to sabotage her new relationship, humiliate her, and destroy her self-esteem. That is not just petty ex behavior. Multiple legal experts and commentators have framed this as a form of intimate image abuse, which is illegal in many jurisdictions across the United States. This is the kind of thing that destroys lives, and Cardi was laying it all out for the world to hear, but the allegations did not stop there. Cardi also claimed during that same X Spaces session that Offset and his new girlfriend had been leaving explicit and threatening voicemails on her phone. She accused him of working with bloggers to tarnish her image, feeding them stories and narratives to make her look bad in the public eye. And perhaps most chillingly of all, she said that Offset had threatened both to end his own life and to harm her if she did not come back to him. That is the textbook definition of emotional manipulation, and it paints a very dark picture of what was going on behind the scenes. And the evidence kept piling up. In January 2026, a video surfaced involving Offset and internet personality Selena Powell, in which Offset was allegedly caught on a FaceTime call making threats against Diggs. The clip made the rounds on every gossip blog and social media platform you can think of. There were also leaked audio recordings where Offset reportedly talked about shooting Diggs in the knee and robbing him. Whether those threats were serious or just the heat of the moment talking, they added another layer of darkness to an already disturbing situation. Cardi B responded dismissively to the Selena Powell video on social media, trying to downplay it, but the damage was done. Now, this was not even the first time intimate content involving Cardi had been leaked or threatened. Way back in 2017, hackers leaked footage of Cardi from her earlier career and content allegedly filmed by Offset. Cardi threatened legal action at the time, but publicly brushed it off. And in 2018, the couple posted a simulated intimate video as a joke, which makes the current situation even more complicated because it shows a history of their private life being entangled with their public image. But there is a massive difference between choosing to share something on your own terms and having someone weaponize that content against you without your consent. In December 2024, Cardi herself leaked explicit messages from Offset in which he was begging for intimacy during their divorce proceedings. She put those receipts out there for everyone to see. So both sides have been playing this game of leaking and exposing, but the footage allegations take it to a completely different and much more dangerous level. The discussions about these allegations spread across every corner of the internet. On Reddit, in subreddits like r/r/faux-moi, users were breaking down every detail of the revenge content claims. One user wrote that Cardi claimed Offset had been sending intimate recordings of them to Diggs and threatening both violence and self-harm. Over on our pop culture chat, the conversation centered on the disturbing threats and how this was part of an alleged pattern. On X, fans were amplifying the claims, with one user stating plainly that Offset does not just harass Cardi, but that he sent around intimate tapes of the two of them. Meanwhile, on Facebook groups and TikTok, people were debating whether the footage actually existed or whether Cardi was exaggerating. Some called it fake, saying that if the footage were real, it would have leaked publicly by now. Others took Cardi's side completely and called for Offset to face legal consequences. And amid all of this chaos, Offset deactivated his social media accounts, posting one final cryptic message before going completely dark. That move was interpreted by many as a sign of guilt, or at the very least, a sign that the pressure was getting to him. He later came back online to shade Cardi and Diggs, but for a while there, he was a ghost. As of right now, no confirmed legal action has been taken regarding the footage, but the calls for accountability have been loud and persistent. And the worst part is, while all of this was happening, while Offset was allegedly weaponizing their past against her, Cardi was trying to build a new life with Stefon Diggs, a man who, as we are about to find out, had some very serious skeletons in his own closet, because what Diggs was doing behind Cardi's back might actually be worse than anything Offset ever did. The man she left Offset for. So Cardi B walked away from a marriage filled with betrayal, manipulation, and alleged intimate content harassment, and she stepped right into the arms of Stefon Diggs. By February 2025, right around Valentine's Day, the two were spotted together in Miami, and the dating rumors went from whispers to screams overnight. By June 2025, they made it Instagram official, posting photos together and looking every bit like the power couple the internet wanted them to be. And then in November 2025, Cardi gave birth to her fourth child, child, her first with Diggs, and it seemed like maybe, just maybe, Cardi had finally found her happy ending. But if you have been paying attention to Stefon Diggs for any amount of time, you already know that happy endings are not exactly his specialty, because while Cardi was building a family with this man, Diggs was allegedly out here fathering children with multiple other women at the same time. And I am not talking about one or two situations. Reports indicate that in 2025 alone, Diggs allegedly welcomed 4 children with 4 different women, making Cardi essentially number 5 in the rotation, depending on whose timeline you believe. That is not a relationship. That is a roster. The list of women connected to Diggs reads like a casting call for a reality show nobody asked for. There was Kiana Barber, who was reportedly one of the mothers. There were rumors about Drake's former video model being involved. And then came the name that blew the whole thing wide open, Pri. Now, Pri is not just some random woman. According to multiple reports, Pri was Offset's alleged mistress. Yes, you heard that correctly. The same woman who was reportedly involved with Offset was now allegedly being seen with Diggs. She was spotted with Diggs at NFL practice, and fans immediately started connecting the dots, suggesting that Offset might have orchestrated the whole thing as some kind of revenge setup to sabotage Cardi's new relationship. And the accusations did not stop with Pri. In what might be one of the most unexpected twists of this entire saga, beauty mogul Jeffree Star came forward and accused Diggs of sliding into his direct messages, implying that Diggs was pursuing him while he was supposed to be committed to Cardi. That one sent social media into an absolute frenzy because nobody, and I mean nobody, had that on their bingo card for 2025. On top of that, an ex named Mia Imani Jones came forward with abuse allegations against Diggs, and another ex, Sky Marlene, started posting old footage right as proposal rumors were swirling, almost as if she was trying to remind the world that Diggs had a past he could not outrun. Cardi addressed the comparisons head on. Fans were calling her a hypocrite for leaving Offset, a known cheater, only to end up with another man doing the exact same thing, and her response was telling. She said, and this is important, it wasn't just cheating with Offset, it was a lot more than anyone could imagine. She was drawing a line between Offset's alleged harassment, threats, and intimate footage distribution on one side, and Diggs' infidelity on the other. In her mind, the two situations were not the same, but she also made it very clear that she was watching Diggs closely, publicly warning that if he cheats or has a child behind her back, it's over. One strike. That was the rule. Then December 2025 came around, and with it came rumors of a physical altercation between Offset and Diggs at a club in Miami. The internet exploded with claims that the two men had gotten into it face to face while Cardi was out for the night. Cardi B quickly denied the whole thing, calling the rumors not true at all. But at that point, people were watching this situation so closely that every rumor felt like it could be the next major revelation. And there were even blind items floating around, suggesting that Cardi might have been retaliating against Diggs by getting close to someone else, cheating back on the man she left a cheater for. You really cannot make this stuff up. Now, with all of that drama simmering in the background, we arrive at the main event, Super Bowl LX, February 8, 2026, Levi's Stadium in Santa Clara, California. The New England Patriots, Stefon Diggs' team, were facing off against the Seattle Seahawks, and this was supposed to be the moment where everything came together. Diggs was in the biggest game of his career. Cardi was planning to celebrate him in the most extravagant way possible, and there were even real, actual conversations about a proposal.
Ring? Is Cardi getting her ring?
It's on the agenda maybe, right? Right? I gotta get mine first though.
That was Diggs himself during media days leading up to the game, teasing the idea of proposing to Cardi on the field if they won. Betting odds were set at plus 1,100 for a yes and minus 4,000 for a no. The whole country was watching. Cardi was hyped beyond belief. After the Patriots won the AFC Championship on January 25th, 2026, she rushed the field and posted, "They didn't believe in us. I like us. We all we got. We all we need." She was all in, and she was spending $1.2 million on a Super Bowl after party, flying in guests, securing venues, the whole 9 yards. This was supposed to be their night, but before the game even kicked off, the red flags were everywhere. At the Fanatics pregame party on February 7th, Cardi appeared noticeably tense when reporters asked about Diggs, giving a short, clipped good luck that fans immediately flagged as suspicious. And right around that same time, blogger Tasha K was leaking alleged receipts of Diggs being seen with Pre at NFL practice the day before the game. According to reports, Diggs allegedly brought Pre into the secured grounds at Levi's Stadium. Whether that is true or an exaggeration from gossip circles, the timing could not have been worse. Then the game started, and things only went downhill from there. On the field, the Patriots were outclassed, losing 29-13. Diggs had a subpar performance and later told reporters it was a team effort and that he wished he had done more. During the fourth quarter, things got physical when Seahawks cornerback Josh Jobe threw a punch at Diggs during a heated exchange on the field, adding insult to an already painful injury. But the real drama was happening in the stands and on social media, because during the halftime show, Cardi made a surprise cameo appearance alongside Bad Bunny, stepping out in a sheer boudoir-coated corset dress that absolutely stole the spotlight. She looked incredible. The performance was a moment, but somewhere between that performance and the end of the game, something broke.
Just woke back up, but social media is clowning Cardi B because it was shown that she unfollowed Stefon Diggs and he unfollowed her after the Super Bowl. To add insult to injury, they claim she actually left the Super Bowl a little after the halftime show.
That right there is the moment the internet knew it was over. The unfollow heard around the world. But why? What happened in those hours between the halftime show and the final whistle that made both of them hit that unfollow button? According to multiple reports, Cardi B left the stadium early while the game was still going on, reportedly after spotting one of Diggs' other baby mamas sitting front and center with their newborn child, wearing his jersey. Imagine that. You planned a $1.2 million party for this man. You performed at the halftime show. You have his child at home. And you look over in the stands to see another woman sitting there with another one of his babies wearing his number like she belongs there too. That was apparently the final straw. The aftermath was brutal. The $1.2 million after party went completely unattended by the couple. Neither Cardi nor Diggs showed up, reports described Cardi as crashing out in real time, leaving the venue singing in her car. A source told Entertainment Tonight that Cardi and Stefon had recently broken up, but added that it was possible they could get back together and that this could just be a temporary thing. But fans were not buying the optimism. A viral screenshot circulated showing what appeared to be Cardi calling Diggs a disgrace to the game, and Diggs replying, "You're a disgrace to music." But here is the thing. That exchange was debunked as completely fabricated, posted by a fan account trying to stir the pot. The real drama was messy enough without people making things up, and here is the point that everybody keeps coming back to, because the comparisons between Offset and Diggs have been relentless. Fans on Reddit's r/Faux-Moi were questioning why the NFL even promoted Diggs and Cardi as a couple when his history was so well known. On X, users were dragging Diggs for his pattern of behavior, with some saying sports fans had been warning everyone for months. And now, with Cardi's relationship with Diggs in shambles, with the Super Bowl embarrassment still fresh, with those baby mamas still in the picture, and with Offset sitting somewhere watching all of this unfold with what I can only imagine is the world's most satisfied smirk, the question becomes, what happens next? Because a very old podcast episode just resurfaced at the absolute worst possible time for everyone involved, and what Offset said on that podcast is making the internet ask a question that nobody expected. Full circle. While Cardi B was dealing with the aftermath of the Super Bowl disaster and the very public collapse of her relationship with Stefon Diggs, something peculiar happened on the internet. Something that felt almost too perfectly timed to be a coincidence. Because right around February 6, 2026, just 2 days before the Super Bowl, Offset's old episode of the Call Her Daddy podcast, hosted by Alex Cooper, got re-uploaded to YouTube. The timing of the re-upload immediately raised eyebrows. People online were furious, because this was not a new conversation. This was a throwback from a time when Offset and Cardi were still technically married, before the final divorce was filed in 2024, before the affair with Diggs was exposed, before the intimate footage allegations, before all of it. But by resurfacing in February 2026, right as Cardi's world was falling apart again, it created this strange, almost haunting contrast between who Offset said he was then and who Cardi says he became. Let me take you through what Offset said on that podcast, because the quotes are striking when you hear them now. When Alex Cooper asked him about meeting Cardi for the first time, Offset did not hold back.
Eventually married Cardi. What was your first impression of her?
I had seen her online first, right? And I just loved the way how raw she was and how confident she was.
That was Offset describing the moment he first noticed Cardi. He saw her online, and it was her authenticity that pulled him in. Her confidence, her rawness, the fact that she was unapologetically herself. And then he kept going.
Nobody thought what nobody think, nothing. And it's like, damn, that's fire. Like, funny, great personality from what I could see.
He was genuinely in awe of her, and when it came time to make his move, he did not hesitate.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, this is a funny girl, she's a cool girl. And then I shot my shot and I switched it.
He shot his shot and he made it count. But what came next in the interview is where it really gets deep, because Cooper asked him how he knew Cardi was the one. And Offset did not talk about fame. He did not talk about money. He did not talk about music. He talked about family.
How did you go from being like, oh my God, I want to meet that girl, going on a date? How did you know she was the one?
First off, she's a family person, right? So I pay attention to,
And then he said something that really cuts when you consider how everything turned out.
like, music and all that. That shit never mattered. That's not what I look at. I look at like your home values, because I'm from the South, so I'm raised by my mother and my grandmother. So I come from strong women. And I see how dedicated and determined she was to.
He said he looked at home values, not industry clout, not chart positions, not followers, home values. He talked about being raised by his mother and grandmother, about coming from strong women. Cardi's drive, according to Offset, was never about herself. It was always about her family. It was about buying her mama a house, taking care of her aunties, making sure everyone around her was straight. He called her the backbone of her entire family, the one holding it all together, and he was not done praising her.
And like, when I hear the story, she still was helping the family with that little money. And it's like her grind and her focus, you can't tell her nothing.
That determination, that refusal to be told she could not do something, was what he connected with because, as he explained, he is the same way.
And it's the same way with me. Like, you can't tell me nothing. There's nothing you can tell me I can't do at all. I don't care what you think. I'm gonna do it, and I'm gonna show you I can do it. It's that determination.
And when Cooper asked about their favorite thing to do together as a couple, Offset kept it simple and honest.
Yeah, she's solid.
Solid.
What's your favorite thing to do together as a couple?
Just being at the crib with the kids running wild.
Just being at home with the kids. That was his answer. Not vacations, not red carpets, not award shows, home. And he went on to explain that their work schedules were so demanding that the quiet moments at home were the ones that mattered most. He also talked about the infidelity in the marriage. He admitted to making mistakes, saying he got married at 26 years old as a mega superstar and that he was selfish. On rebuilding trust, he said the key was respecting her position, stopping the selfishness, and communicating honestly. He said, according to Billboard's reporting on the episode, that what he did was selfish, and that it was her turn to be selfish, and that he was lucky to have a loyal one. He said he did not want to lose her for anything, that he loved her more than he could express. And on the topic of fatherhood, he talked about how having kids changed his priorities completely, that once you have children, you become the last priority, and everything revolves around being selfless for them. Now, hearing all of that in 2026, after everything that has happened, hits completely different, and the internet made that very clear. The YouTube comments on the re-upload were a war zone. One commenter wrote that Cardi has a restraining order against this man and that reposting the episode is gross. Another wrote to stop giving this person a platform. Others pointed out that the episode was clearly old and questioned why it was being posted now, with the obvious implication being that it was time to coincide with the Super Bowl drama. On Reddit's r Call Her Daddy, a whole thread popped up titled, "Offset spoke of his marriage with Cardi B like they're still together, and I'm confused." Users in that thread were quick to clarify that the episode was from 2023 and that he was technically still married at the time. One user noted that some states require long separation periods before a divorce is finalized, so he could still refer to her as his wife. Another user called the timing bad, noting Cardi had appeared on the same podcast in September 2025 in an episode called Cardi B Drama, Divorce, and Digs, where she talked about moving on from Offset. So the juxtaposition of Offset speaking lovingly about their marriage and Cardi speaking about leaving it was jarring for listeners. On X, the reactions were even more pointed. One user wrote that Offset just proved once again that it may take him another 10 years to fully get over his ex-wife Cardi B. Another posted that Offset proves one more time it is going to take him the next 10 years to get over her, racking up over 250 likes. Users were calling him the poster boy for learning too late what you had. On Facebook, one viral post said that after watching Offset on the Call Her Daddy interview, it feels like he is finally realizing it is over, garnering nearly 800 views. Another Instagram post asked the million-dollar question, how do you describe a woman with this many positive qualities and still fumble her? And that brings us to the present moment, because here is what is happening right now, in real time. Offset is not sitting quietly in the background. He is making noise. After the Super Bowl breakup, Offset has been openly mocking Cardi's situation online, clowning her for leaving him only to end up in an arguably worse situation. Fans have pointed out that compared to Diggs, Offset is starting to look like a saint, which is saying something given the 50-plus infidelity allegations. He has been shading her about Diggs being involved with their children, pointing out things like Diggs and Cardi's son getting matching braids as a provocation. And through it all, Offset has kept a certain energy that says, without saying it directly, I am still right here.
Hello. Yeah, Northside baby, man. Y'all niggas can't get rid of me. I'm like cancer.
That clip right there tells you everything you need to know about where Offset's head is at. He is not going anywhere. He believes he is permanent in Cardi's life, and after watching Diggs implode spectacularly on the biggest stage in sports, a lot of people are starting to think he might be right. The fallout from all of this has been massive. Cardi canceled her tour in January 2026 amid the stress of everything going on. Diggs, meanwhile, was dealing with his own unrelated assault and strangulation charges from December 2025, which Cardi had publicly defended by sharing alleged texts from the accuser, saying it was a misunderstanding. His teammates reportedly avoid letting him date their sisters because of his reputation, which tells you everything about how the people who know him best view his personal life. On Reddit's RNFLV2, sports fans discussed how Diggs' troubled past, from lawsuits to accusations, stands in sharp contrast to the hero narrative the NFL tried to build around him for the Super Bowl. And through all of this, the internet remains deeply divided. On one side, you have people who see this as karma for Cardi. They argue that she left Offset for another man while pregnant with his child, and now she is getting a taste of what betrayal feels like from the other side. They point to her lick back with Diggs as the moment she set this whole chain of events in motion. On the other side, you have people who see Cardi as a victim of serial abuse, a woman who endured 50-plus instances of infidelity, was allegedly subjected to intimate content harassment, received threats against her life, and is now being mocked for trying to find happiness elsewhere. Co-parenting remains a flashpoint, with Offset expressing frustration over Diggs' involvement with their children, but Cardi praising Diggs as someone who actually shows up as a father. Now here's the part that everyone is talking about and nobody can confirm. The speculation, the rumors, the whispers. Because ever since the Super Bowl unfollow, ever since the $1.2 million party that nobody attended, ever since Offset resurfaced with that podcast and those social media jabs, people have been asking whether Cardi B might actually go back to Offset. It sounds unbelievable. It sounds like the last thing that would ever happen. But consider the pattern. They broke up before, in 2020, and got back together. Offset has made it clear, both in that podcast and in his social media presence, that he is not moving on. He still talks about her like she is the greatest thing that ever happened to him. And Cardi, for all her toughness and independence, has always had a soft spot for the man she built a family with. They share 3 children, they share a history, and now that the man she left him for has turned out to be, by many accounts, an even bigger disappointment. The door that everyone thought was permanently shut might be cracking open again.